This is my first official video on serving your family that's not cleaning or motivating. This is just us sitting down and chatting with our favorite drink. I have coffee. I don't know what you have, but get you something good that you enjoy drinking and let's sit and chat. So my name is Brandy, and today I'm just going to share with you like how my life has changed since becoming a stay-at-home mom in the mornings. So a little backstory: before I became a stay-at-home mom, I was a teacher for 7 years, and I really noticed how like rushed my mornings were. And even my mom had made a comment that wasn't like super nice. She used to watch our girls right before I quit teaching, and she would see me like running around and just not being very patient or kind and trying to get the kids out the door. If you are a working parent, then you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, well, I guess you don't have to be a working parent. You could be just anybody trying to get their kids somewhere on time. So you have experience in that. Anyway, she was saying things like, well, it was really just one particular comment about how she sees herself in me, and how ugly she used to be to us, getting us out the door. And she said that she just felt so sorry and so bad that this was how my life also is. And that kind of stuck with me. And so eventually I quit. I think it was that same year, because she only watched the girls for like 2 years. And it was that same year that she made that comment that, that she saw herself in me, and how impatient I was being, because she knows my character and she knows that's not me. But, I also wanted to be at work on time, and it bothered me to not, dedicate myself to my job that God had given me. So it was like, this is a hard, back and forth. My heart was torn both ways. And so anyway, I'm just wanting to talk about how life is different now that I'm staying at home, how my life is different for my kids and myself. And so I think I'm looking at the wrong dot. I bet everybody does that for a while. Okay, I'm going to look over here and hopefully that will work. Anyway, so let's talk. I write a lot of things down. I journal a lot now. And so it's been really helpful. So let's see. I titled it 10 Things I No Longer Do Since Becoming a Stay-at-Home Mom. And that being morning rush is what we're going to talk about. So this can be relatable if you are a working mom and you're feeling the same way. Just let me know in the comments what you're doing differently, because there are mornings where we do go places. In fact, this morning we're supposed to go to the courthouse and listen to some people speak as part of our homeschool. And so I've got a really good one at the very end that kind of breaks my heart a little bit to talk about. So wait for the last one because it's a good one. All right. Number one, I do not have to get up to an alarm every day. Now my husband will laugh and say, Brandy, you have an alarm. It goes off at 5:30 every morning and I have to shut it off. Sometimes that's true. I do have an alarm at 5:30 and I snooze it or just completely shut it off all the time. So, and then I just keep sleeping. So sometimes I'll get up to it, but it's rare. So I don't have to rush into getting up. If my body needs more sleep, then I do that as well. So, and I think one of my kids is awake. All right, we've got serious mom life over here. So number two would be waking my kids up. So I remember when I was a little girl, my mom was like, she would sing a song like, rise and shine, and turn the lights on, and I hated it. And so anyway, I probably do something like that with my kids, but for school. The thing is, you go in there and you wake them up, and then 5 minutes later, you go in there to see if they're getting ready and they're still asleep. And so what do? You get frustrated. And I definitely did. And I probably said some impatient, like, you need to get up. I'm going to be late, right? And so I don't have to wake my kids up at 6 and then 6:05 and then 6:10 and then get in there at 6:30 and we've got to leave by 6:45 and they're still asleep. So there's no more of that. And then my next one is rushing them to get ready for school. So that kind of goes together. I just remember so much, like, it wasn't like this every single morning, but a lot of the mornings I really did feel like I was just rushing them the whole morning. Like, get in here, eat your breakfast. We got to get going. Get your shoes on, get your water, get your backpack. Did you get this? And we would get in the car and then I would say, so and so, did you grab this? And they'd be like, oh, no, I forgot. And really, they weren't going to be late. I was going to be late. I had to be at work at 7:30 every morning and I had to drop off um, 2 kids at a different campus. And then I went to my campus with our oldest. And then next year, before we started homeschooling, I was going to be going to 2 different campuses and then my campus because my kids were going to a different part of the school and they separate it by grades. And so y'all know how that is, like elementary, intermediate, middle school. And so it was going to be like that for the next couple of years. And I mean, that's not like the main reason I quit or anything, but it definitely does add to the stress of your morning trying to get everybody through the car line or, get around them because they're all waiting for school to open and then getting parked and getting in and trying to all still be in a good mood. I sound like I'm complaining a lot. I'm trying not to do that, but I'm just saying it was just, I don't know, not for me, I guess. So we decided to homeschool and mornings are a lot simpler. So no more rushing them to get out the door. So the next one is making a quick breakfast and having them eat in the car. I always wanted, like, my husband was telling me like his grandmother would get up and make like from scratch breakfast and he would sit down with her and eat and then he would go to school and I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so nice. But anyway, he was raised by his grandparents and I was not. And I was raised by a very like rush through the morning parent. And I guess there were a couple mornings that I would get up early and I had sourdough and I would make sourdough discard pancakes. My oldest loves that. And so there were some mornings where I was able to do that, but I couldn't do that every morning. And so there were lots of mornings where we had cereal in a bag, get in the car, we got to go, you can eat at school. It was kind of my, they serve breakfast at school. And so we did a lot of that. Once you get to school, you can eat something or, grab an apple, eat it on the way. And then when you get to school, you can have real breakfast. And I didn't get to eat breakfast with my kids. And so if you want to meet some grouchy people, all you have to do is get yourself in a car line with a bunch of parents who are running late to work. It is an interesting experience, right? So no more feeling rushed in the car line. I mean, not everybody's like that. People wave and some people are kind. And I always love the crosswalk people. They're so happy to see all the kids. And then you pull up to the school and there's a couple teachers out, right, like opening the doors and things. Anyway, so it's nice not to be rushing in the car line to whip around and get to my job. And anyway, the next one is feeling like I already missed them, knowing I won't see them for the next 8 hours. So when I had our fourth, I didn't notice it as bad just because like I would drop 2 off and then I had one that was still at home. And so I had 2 at home and 2 at school. And then when I had our fifth, so I would drop off 3 kids now, and then I had 1 kid at home, and then the baby. And I just remember being like so sad that I wasn't going to get to see them. I wouldn't get to hear anything exciting about what they're doing, how their day went. And I felt like I was just missing everything. And that year before, I was teaching kindergarten, and so I already felt like, oh my gosh, like I missed all this time that I could have been with them, teaching them these skills and life skills my kids had been missing all these years. Is a totally different conversation. I'll have to make a video about that. But anyway, so missing them for 8 hours a day, I wanted to be with my kids. Now, I've definitely run into parents that there's no way they'd want to be with their kids for 8 hours a day. And it's your life, your choice. But ultimately, I missed being with my kids all day long. And I was with somebody else's kids all day. And it was time for me to be with my own and get to know my own. And so that has been really, really nice. All right. And then the next thing is, these two are actually related to in the evening, not morning time. So I was going to cut it off at 8, but I'll just share these really quick. So, I actually only shared 7. I'm still going to save the best one for last. So the next one is rushing them home to make dinner. So I would get off, really, I'd be done by, 3:45, 4 o'clock, but that would be with car duty. And then I had to, prep my classroom for the next day. So it'd take about an hour just so I was ready, right? I wanted to be successful the next morning. And I didn't want to, what I came into was kids. So I had to be ready to go, right? So anyway, I had to stay till 5, get home. It was a 30-minute drive, get home, cook dinner, right? I tried not even to put my kids in a lot of extracurriculars because that took up, 2-3 nights a week. We were doing karate, and then we were doing basketball and soccer. And when I decided to stay home, we took a break. And so we just recently started some of that, but I needed a break. I needed my evenings back. I love sitting down to dinner as a family. And when you are constantly signed up for so many different things, you don't get that. And so no rushing anymore. I start dinner around 4:30. I prep whatever it is that morning if I need to. I start dinner. It's ready to go by the time my husband gets home. And so anyway, don't miss that. And then the next one would be, now I know time changes and that affects the light outside, but it is still light but still like 9 o'clock. And if you go to school and you have to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you can't go to bed at 9:30 at night. And so because we homeschool, my kids can stay out later. We don't rush to going to bed at 8 because they can sleep in. And so we get to enjoy where I live, it's hot during the day. And there's, you can do a little bit of playtime in the morning and a lot of bit of playtime in the evening. And the only way we can do that is to stay up until 8:30, 9 o'clock and then get ready for bed. And then I just let them sleep in. But if we were doing regular school, I would have to rush them to bed with the lights on outside still, God's glorious sun still up, and they would have to try to go to sleep. And I don't miss that because I love them getting to play outside as much as possible. And the only way you can do that is when it's cool outside. All right, very last one. I would get frustrated, and this is about me, not my kids, but I would get frustrated when my babies, whichever baby it was at the time, would wake me up, or not wake me up, would wake up when I'm trying to get ready for work. That was so hard for me. So I would sneak out of bed, right? They're laying with me or they're laying, in their crib. And I would sneak and try to be real quiet in the house. And I would go to my bathroom and, all the things that I needed to do. And if I wasn't ready and they came in there or started crying, I have to be mom, right? I have to stop getting ready for work and I have to go be mom. So who knows how long it would be before I can continue back into getting ready for work. And it's not that I didn't want to see my kids that morning, but it slowed me down. And I'm rushing, right? Because that's my morning routine is I have to rush everywhere to get ready. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm one of those people that would get up at 5 o'clock and have this quiet time. And no, I was exhausted. I was rushing every morning. Okay, not every single morning, but 99.9% of the time I was rushing. There were select few mornings that I could get up, have coffee, have some quiet time, make some sourdough pancakes, whatever it is. But ultimately it was, oh my gosh, it's already whatever time. And I would have to jump up, get dressed. And there are things that I did, right? Setting my clothes out the night before. Sometimes I would pack my lunch, or at least have an idea of what I'm going to have. So there were things, and there still are things that you can do to help, but it doesn't fix everything. And so the saddest part for me was I would have these precious babies and I would be quiet so I wouldn't wake them up. So I didn't visit with them. How sad is that? Like, it's not that I didn't want to see them. It's just that they would slow me down and I needed to get to work because that was more important. And so, I mean, not really, but that's how I lived. It was more important. I'm trying to express this in a nice way, but it's not nice, and it broke my heart. So, I heard my mom would come in the door, and I'd be like, okay, so and so and so, they're still sleeping, so we're gonna sneak out. And she's like, okay, I'll see them when they wake up. Have a great day. And I'm like, okay, thanks, love you, bye. And we would leave, but I would be so brokenhearted. I didn't even get to tell them good morning. And I wouldn't see them until what, 5:30? So I went to bed telling them good night at like 8:30, 8:30, and then wouldn't get to see them till the next day at 5 o'clock. And the thing is, 5:30, what? 6:30, 7:30, 8. So I get to visit with them for 3 hours. Why is life like that? And I know some of you live this life, and if you want to continue, by all means, go ahead. But if you are thinking about staying at home to be with your kids more, or I don't know if you want to homeschool, but there are definitely pros and cons to both. Here's what I will say as my very last part. I am not going to get on here and judge anybody for whichever way they choose, okay? If you're a working mom, or maybe you just work on the weekends or evenings, or however you do your schedule, I want to encourage you to serve your family, okay? And if you're a stay-at-home mom, I want to encourage you to serve your family. Not everybody can stay home. I knew for a long time that I felt like we couldn't. There's no way financially. And in fact, by the time that God got a hold of me with my walk with Him and serving my family, I've been a Christian for a while. I was a teenager when I accepted Christ. So He's always been inside, but I've, throughout my life, done better about listening to the Holy Spirit and then not. So I've just been so busy and I didn't realize, right? But this last year that I, decided to quit teaching and become a stay-at-home mom, I was like, financially, I was like, we're going to do what? Like, how are we possibly going to do that? And I will tell you this, that if you honestly want to be a stay-at-home mom, obviously you have to have your husband's commitment. And he was all for it, a couple of years prior. And I just was like, oh, there's no way. But if you want your husband's commitment, pray that the Lord will put it on his heart. And then that way you're not coming at him and saying, hey, we're going to lose, 40% or half of our income, whatever it is for you, or lose some income because I want to stay home. Pray about it. Pray to God that He will put it on your husband's heart, that this is what you desire. And so, anyway, what else was I going to say?
You were talking about trying to afford staying home.
Oh, how did we afford it? So I'm not going to go into that. I do have a video, a get to know me video, and it was talking about, or I was talking about how we had to make a huge sacrifice. And that huge sacrifice was moving into a camper. And so, yes, we left our neighborhood home. We were renting it, our neighborhood home, and we moved into a 32-foot camper. And at first, my husband was like, what? And I was like, well, we want me to stay home. We got to make sure we can afford things. So let's stay in this camper for a little while until we can get our budget figured out. And we did. And that was a huge sacrifice. 32-foot camper, 5 kids, 2 adults, and 2 dogs, big dogs. We have Labradoodles. So it was a sacrifice for sure. And I love what Dave Ramsey says. We went to Dave Ramsey, gosh, how many years ago was that? 2015, maybe? No, maybe 2018, 17, something like that. It's been a while. So, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. And, living in a camper isn't for everybody, and not a lot of people want to do it. And so, but we did it, and we had to make that sacrifice. And so you can live like no one else. That's the rest of it, right? So being a stay-at-home mom isn't for everybody. And, some people feel like they can't afford it. I promise you, you can figure it out. God is our provider. And if he's telling you, hey, what you're doing, we got to do something different. Let's get things figured out. I'm going to provide for you. And he will. He really will. And I can speak more on that later, but he really has, and it's been fantastic. So I hope that this video encourages you. I'm going to get some drinks of this coffee. I hope that this inspires you. That's the goal here, to help you, one, realize that you're not alone. Okay, all of this rushing feelings that you're having, half doing both jobs, whatever it is for you, that was mine. Half being a mom, half being a teacher, or whatever your job is, I was drained and exhausted. And if you listen to my cleaning video, that I talk on there a lot about how I became a stay-at-home mom. So if you want to watch that and see if you can relate, just know that I'm praying for you. If you subscribe to my channel, I'm praying for my subscribers all the time. And so I'm thinking about you. Leave in the comments what it is that you need, and let's pray about it. If you need more money in your budget, if your husband needs to get a raise, if y'all need to downsize to a smaller home, I'm going to have a lot of minimalist videos. There's definitely some things we need to declutter around here. We try to stay as minimal as possible. That happened back, I guess maybe right before COVID or during COVID. My mom and I had read a book about minimalism. And so, anyway, I hope you get something out of this, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm gonna get to pushing a little pink car. So you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next one.